So, what kind of webcomics have you two been reading lately?
Oh, I've been reading like some of the usual, like probably we all read EGS still, Elgunish Shive. That's getting pretty hectic right now.
Yeah, the weekly updates, the tri-weekly updates, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Really good.
I still have some of those to catch up with, actually. Free Fall, for example.
Oh yeah, free fall.
Yeah. For me, it's just been the normal set of stuff. Dumbing of Age, Free Fall, EGS, Rain, Questionable Content, and Love Not Found are probably and Shock Mercenary are probably my main ones that I read on a daily basis.
XKCD, maybe?
Yes, XKCD as well.
I feel like there has been an update for Death Bulge in a while, but... Oh, the website is back on, at least.
Oh cool.
But yeah,
Yeah.
what's the webcomics? I've been reading Steven and the Crystal GMs myself. It's a Dwarfs and Droids style webcomic where they have turned the original TV series into a Dungeons and Dragons-esque campaign.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty fun, I guess.
Yeah, I saw you post some screenshots of that with some of the weird speech bubbles that go around.
Yeah. It splits in one page. The speech bubble splits up, so we have two conversations happening simultaneously, and they join at the end together. And I have no idea how that would work in real life. That kind of blew my mind.
No, look like they need to take, like maybe read up on the conventions on speech bubbles and comics and stuff because it's quite complicated.
It can get quite complicated, but I thought it was really interesting how it did that.
Yeah.
It's something really new.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Webcomcast. I'm joined here today by Ray.
Hello.
Hello. And I'm joined here by Wombat, just like last time.
Yeah. I'm the first reoccurring character.
And today we're going to talk about Always Human.
Or is it always?
We're always talking about humans.
But what are humans?
Mostly water.
Do you really want to go into philosophy already?
No, I was just doing a Vsauce meme. Okay.
So yeah, do one of you want to describe Always Human to the audience?
Okay, Always Human is a near future sci-fi romance story about a sort of future where, like, essentially cosmetic technology has reached the point where you can completely change your appearance at will, essentially. And about a romance that forms between a sort of average, in-the-nose social person and someone who can't actually use any of this, like, amazing technology, and the sort of relationship that forms in between them.
Well, this technology, should be noted, isn't just cosmetics. It's also things like anti-cancer medications and some pretty big stuff like along those lines. So it's nanotechnology.
Yeah. Advanced.
They're using nanotechnology to really change the biology, basically.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the cosmetic stuff is a big focus of the world building in Always Human.
Yeah, because all the background characters are absolutely beautiful and very unique.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those worlds where everyone has an interesting hairstyle and hair color. The skin color, eyes can be very varied in this webcomic.
Yeah, very like ultra individualist in its approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you also get people who have their whole skin in a different skin color that's that's really unusual.
Yeah.
Or replaced with a different texture. Yeah. Some people have wings.
There's
or cat eyes.
There's this one turtle person that shows up later on in the comic. Like, that's really...
It's been more like a plant person, it was more like, I think.
I thought it was a turtle. Like they do look like a cactus.
A cactus, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a turtle person. I don't know.
I love we're already going to the specifics of a specific side background character.
Yeah, but it's an example of like the absolute extremes that this world presents.
I think that character was called Lily, by the way, so that also kind of suggested my idea that it might be a plant-based character.
I don't know. I think it was. I don't know.
There's also stuff like one of the main cast early on gets cat eyes.
Yeah,
cat eyes.
So it'd be neat technology to have, but
it's really cool, yeah. And it's also used to do a lot of interesting stuff with gender and that kind of things.
Yeah. It's briefly touched on that it's quite flexible.
Of course, the technology being so central is emphasized by the fact that one of the two main characters can't use any of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really important part of the plot.
Yeah.
Because the entire story basically focuses on the two main characters, Tsunati and Austin.
Yeah.
Tsunati is a virtual reality environment creator, programmer.
Yeah.
She's in university, 22 years old, and she's just really adorable.
Yeah, quite.
The winner of the best cinnamon roll award of the year, basically.
Yeah, it has a quite like interesting social awkwardness that really comes out.
Yeah. So she's just really adorable to follow and such a joy to watch.
Yeah.
And you also got Austin, who is suffering from Egan syndrome, which basically means that her
immune system is
yeah,
overacting, so it can't have any tiny little robots in it.
her immune system is basically too good, and it fights the robots basically, the nanotechnology.
It's like the reverse of AIDS. Like instead of destroying your immune system, it makes it incredibly powerful.
In some ways, it's equivalent to one of our autoimmune disorders in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. Like, I can't really think of anything it's quite analogous to, but yeah.
So Austin looks very ordinary from our perspectives. Well, she does look very pretty, but she has brown hair, freckles, brown eyes, regular skin color. It's immediately apparent that she's not using any mods.
Yeah.
So she stands out a lot in this environment because she looks so different. Or
like a splash of grey in a rainbow, sort of. Like not actual grey, but as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's portrayed as very odd that somebody would have a natural look and stick to it in the long term.
That's how Tsunati and Austin met.
Yeah.
Because Austin always stood out to Tsunati when she was standing at a train station, so...
Yeah, it's interesting that, like, not changing your look is more noticeable than changing it every day. Or, like, every few weeks. You know.
So the story basically focuses on the character arcs of Tsunati and Austin. Each has... it was very nicely put, actually, in the epilogue, or at the end of the epilogue of the webcomic. That the Walking North had a character arc for both of them in mind as she was writing the webcomic.
Yeah, like you can see that there's a definite arc that, like, they do change by the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely, you may not pick up on it right away, but there are definitely several different things going on that have to be resolved by the end, and she does really wrap everything up very nicely by the end of the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, I reckon they could have done more. And it would they probably could have done more with it, but the author said that, like, this is how far they wanted to go. So.
Yeah, she said at the end of the story that she just finished both their character arcs. I would have loved to see more of it as well, because it's just really adorable to watch this romance flourish. But this romance also has some of those really dark, really sad moments where they're just dealing with their own issues, their own mental hang-ups, basically.
The comic's written at a rather, like, important part of life. The sort of, like, approaching end of the university, you have to make your way into the world, you have to really decide what you want to do. That I think a lot of people will relate to, considering how things are nowadays.
I think this webcomic can be, and a lot of the things that happen in here can be really relatable to people. Because I personally have a hard time relating to the romance aspect itself, because I'm not very experienced with romance. But their character arcs just has a lot in it that really anyone can relate to.
Yeah, like one of the big ones is moving away for work. Like that's a big thing that's touched several times in the comic.
Yeah.
There's also a big thing, and probably one of the few places I've seen it dealt with so well, is the theme of ableism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I also had to not deal with, but basically I can be in the same situation as Sudati at the start of this webcomic, where you're just at this train station and you see someone else who looks different in some way. Maybe they have a disability or blind or something like that. Maybe they just have an interesting hair color. And you just find yourself thinking, but what should I be thinking about? Am I staring? That kind of things.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of interesting to deal with that and to explore how a person experiences that.
Yeah. I found the moments where like the disability was, where like her syndrome was brought up, and how she internalized it was quite interesting to explore, because she has a lot of self-image sort of things where she really wants to make her own way and like really try and prove herself to the world, and I guess herself, that she can do a lot of these things. Like she
has some huge self-image issues.
Yeah, there's a stubbornness, and she does have like other self-image issues that might have stemmed from that. Like health and dieting is touched on a few times.
I was thinking with the mods, the more practical mods like the focus and memory mods really put her at a huge disadvantage compared to other people, because she has to do her learning normally the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
So there's also mods for weight control, stamina, and other things, so that in a lot of ways, whatever she's doing, she has disadvantages compared to everybody else.
She really looks like a mess while she's studying for her exams. She's so tired and weak and frustrated by dealing with course material that on the one hand she doesn't even actually enjoy, but on the other hand it's just also way too much for her, because she's just not advantaged in the way that everyone else is.
Yeah, and it's touched on like how that stubbornness might be holding her back in some ways, like how her determination to do something stops her from really developing at some points, because she feels like if she changes her mind, she's surrendering something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She feels like she's giving up if she isn't able to push through. And that's while she's even doing something that she's not even enjoying, because she's studying genetics, hoping to eventually help to some degree. At least her dream originally was to help with dealing with Egan syndrome, which she suffers from.
Yeah. Yeah, but things don't always go to plan.
Yeah, she just can't do that. She doesn't enjoy it. What she really enjoys is programming.
Yeah, that's a big thing in university, where you really realize that what you like. I think like the average person changes degrees like 3 times or something ridiculous. Like in university, so that's quite relatable for most people. That feeling of like, should I stick with this or should I change it?
And it's really nice that she also got a lot happier when she did that.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta make those hard decisions to really progress.
Well, and to an extent, part of why she wasn't willing to, for a long time, make those things, because it felt like her Egan syndrome was controlling her life.
Yeah.
Yes. She really didn't want that.
Yeah, that's the thing that loop back around to the ableism point where, like, you don't want to feel the disability is controlling your life and that you can do these things.
And the same thing about how she doesn't want other people to hold themselves back because she is dealing with this.
Yeah, that's I think, probably a relatable attitude to have.
Yeah. And of course, this also intersects very early on in just the first couple episodes of this webcomic. You get the impression that Sentai is very much putting her on a pedestal as being brave for simply dealing with her syndrome.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yes.
this is getting into some very, maybe more difficult and sensitive bits of ableism.
Yeah.
There was also something while I was reading it that she just kept calling Austin brave for what she's doing, and I was at that aspect of it, I was already realizing that she was putting Austin on a pedestal to a degree that's just not healthy for anyone.
Yeah, it is a big part of their developing relationship. Like, do you really know each other, or like, are you in love with me, or are you in love with the idea of me? That's brought up early on.
And it's quite weird when you're scrolling through it really fast, as I did this morning when I was rereading it for the third time, just to get a grasp of the order of events, to the chronology. Mm-hmm. It's really weird to read it like that, because then it seems like their relationship also goes really fast. How they kissed on their first date, basically.
Yeah,
and had some really emotional moments on their second date.
Yeah. I guess that's a little side thing, that rereading a comic, you might not get the same sense of pacing as if you were following it week by week as it came out. Like, you might not get the same sense of pacing as
I think because of the huge amounts of white space, and because sometimes you have like a full screen with only white space just to pace things out.
Yeah.
Also because of the calm music and such. It feels like everything takes a lot longer than it actually does.
Yeah. As far as the overall length, this isn't a very long webcomic either.
No,
it's 80 pages. The pages are somewhat long, but you can easily read it in a day or two.
Yeah, it's like 80 or so chapters of 26 or something a piece pages.
Yeah, you can go through it pretty fast.
Yeah, it tends to be.
So there are a lot of time skips.
It's quite easy to read because it uses a lot of like simple speech bubble flow, especially on mobile. If you're reading it on mobile, it's quite easy to follow.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that webtoons work really well with mobile devices.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird also because it feels like there's very little actual speech. Because all the speech bubbles are pretty big and there's like one sentence in each. There's one moment where a character where Tsunatu says about another character that she talks a lot in page 63, and she does talk a lot more than any other character in the webcomic, but she still doesn't even talk all that much.
It doesn't feel
compared.
It doesn't feel like a big text block because it's really spaced out quite nicely, and it floats. Yeah.
Compared to other webcomics, it's so airy and so dreamy and so soft and smooth, and
I think a lot of that comes in.
Walking North makes great use of negative space.
Yes, and a lot of the art style is quite smooth. There's a lot of soft colors, like soft color palettes, a lot of bloom used, like a lot of little sparkle effects to make it all seem whimsical. Like there's a slight whimsical gloss over the whole comic.
all of the panels, or most of them at least, are squares or rectangles. But because of the soft colors and because they're so spaced apart so much, it feels more like you're just looking through a window into this world.
Yes, yeah.
And this is the speech panels in this comic are probably some of my favorites.
Yeah, It's really funny because you can actually see the tone in which they are speaking through the tail of the speech bubbles.
Also, the little text that's like either their thoughts or their under the breath speech.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it conveys the tone of the speech, or like how they're speaking quite well.
There's a lot of little tricks that are very consistent throughout the webcomic, but are just really nice and really give you the tone of the speech. Yeah, it gives you a lot of tone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and briefly on the art style, it's quite like the actual character design is very anime inspired.
That's true.
I was just going to say, you see a fair bit of like kawaii face, the chibi style pop up now and then on the character design.
I think it's also a bit inspired by Korean webtoons.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can definitely, because you can see the anime influences, but it's definitely slightly different on the edges. So yeah, I'd say Korean's a better and that influence point.
Because I think Always Human also won like one of those early English language webtoon awards or something like that. Would have to look it up for a second, but yeah.
No, it's had quite a popular little following on
Yeah.
webtoon.
It's really nice to read the comments on all of these pages.
Yeah. And there's I
Yeah.
think some fans made a comic dub of it, which really shows how much people like it.
Yeah. Now it doesn't actually have all that many characters, so that probably helps. Because besides Tsunati and Austin, and I guess Rei, which is Tsunati's best friend,
Yeah.
there aren't actually all that many characters. And the few characters that are there actually only show up for like a chapter or two.
Yeah. There are actually a lot of like references to other comics and like internet people really in like
There are a lot of cameos, yeah.
lot of cameos from other comics and stuff in those little one-off characters.
You see, some of the webcomics I recognized were shoots around the Immortal Nerd and Namesake, actually. So it's pretty funny that that characters from those webcomics pop up in the background. But also just a lot of original characters from Tumblr, from people on Tumblr.
Yeah, I think while it was being made, you could just ask to have your character in it, and she'd do it.
Yeah, there's a huge community aspect to it. It's also funny, funny. It's also nice because sometimes in the description of a page she says, "I can't believe shoot around," or what was it called, Story of Aegis, that those webcomics ended today, and I was like, oh, that's interesting that it happened back then. So it's clear that there's a community going around on Webtoon. That's just part of it.
Yeah, that was a shame I wasn't reading it during its main run. Probably would have been good to get into.
Yeah, but when it's about the side characters, the more major side characters, I kind of find it too bad that a lot of them didn't show up much, especially Kylie, the feather-haired person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or also Yasel, whose name sounds a bit like a combination between Laurel and Yenny, but
Oh, that is.
They are a troublemaker.
That is not a good meme. I'm sorry, my friend.
I'd try.
No, A for effort.
But there are a lot of interesting side characters that we don't see much of because it's all about the character arcs for the main character.
Yeah.
The main two characters.
Yeah, that really is the focus.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the world building stuff isn't as explored as you'd expect in a more hard sci-fi setting, because it's really just a backdrop for this relationship to develop.
Yes, which makes it more relatable.
Yeah.
My favorite sci-fi, usually that is sort of where the world building shows up as an intersection in the characters. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they go too far out of the way to world build, it just takes away, I guess, from the story a bit.
My precious setting syndrome is a common failure of a writer. Like, just being so invested in your own setting, you just keep developing it that eventually it just becomes a mess. But the world building aspects are enough that you really get a sense of that this world might be believable.
Yeah, and it's a really nice world. It's a world that I would love to live in.
It's very Star Trekky, honestly. Like,
Yeah, quite.
Utopian.
yeah, it embodies a very Star Trekky attitude towards society, societal development, and everyone getting with their problems, and we're all going to space. And
Yeah, it's very utopian.
Utopian is the right word.
utopian. Yeah.
It's very hopeful.
It's pretty much a post-scarcity world in which everyone can be them. In which individualism is very important, as Wombat said earlier. It's just really nice.
Yeah. Anyway, as like a first probably for most webcomic reviews, this one has music. We should probably talk about that.
Yes. You're probably listening to it right now as I edit it into the background.
Yeah, it's probably the first webcomic I've really seen sound used on where it wasn't, I guess, a gimmick or...
It is sometimes a bit gimmicky, though it varies. I mean...
There was like that horror webtoon. Like a few horror webtoons have utilized it.
Yeah, often with noises too.
Yeah. Yeah, here it's all just like more set the tone and stuff.
It did so really nicely. It's a lot of those very... It matches the visuals, being very smooth, calm music.
Yeah.
Sometimes sad, sometimes happy.
A lot of chimes. It's very like soft chime music, you know.
When they're at a lake or the beach, they actually have some waves in the background. So.
Yeah, right.
Out in the outback, they had soft animal noises and birds in the background. It's very subtle what they did too, so it's not a smack you in the face type thing either. I didn't even notice that, I think, the first time I ran through it.
Really icing on the cake. Like,
it does help with immersion too.
Yeah. And even like the change between tone, like between emotions, is very subtle. Like when it's sad and when it's like when it's like stressful, like there's a very slight change in the like pacing of the music, and like there'll be a lot of subtle things to let you know that this is the tone, while still keeping very quiet, sort of eerie, slightly futuristic sometimes, like music just in the background.
And Walking North made basically pretty much all of it, so... Sometimes the music lasts a bit longer than it takes to read a page. At which point you have to decide whether to wait for the music to end or just go to the next page anyway. So that's kind of difficult to deal with.
It's kind of good to slow down a little bit and savor the pages and take in the music as you're doing it.
It definitely makes you scroll through the pages slower.
Yeah.
As it just makes you change your pacing. Makes you slow down.
If you're looking for an alternative to those lo-fi hip-hop radio stations, that's a bit more like new wave, or I don't know how to describe it. Like that's a bit more.
Go to Bandcamp.
Yeah, go to the Bandcamp.
You can listen to all. You can listen to it all, and it's really nice.
Yeah. Check out my SoundCloud, bruh. Yeah. If you read it on the bus or something, put on some headphones. You probably won't regret it.
Yeah, you have to. That also makes it makes just a more emotional experience. Because I cried twice yesterday reading, so it's doing something right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's some really emotional moments of just the weight coming off of the characters' backs.
Yeah, if you like drama, not drama, if you like those really emotional romantic comics, this is definitely one you should check out, or probably already have. Considering I think we should have put a spoiler warning, honestly, before we started talking about
I
it.
keep forgetting those.
Sorry.
I need to start with those at some point. Well, I'm gonna put a spoiler warning when I'm sharing this video probably, but
Well, I don't think we've gotten into anything that's been too spoilery yet.
I don't think there are even all that many spoilers, except maybe to where the character arcs go.
Yeah.
Like, even if you know what the character arcs are, I mean, it's a romance, so is it a spoiler that they do or do not split up?
I guess. Like.
Most of the arcs, whether or not you realize what they are set up very, very early in the first few episodes.
Yeah, that's really nice. Because at the end, when Walking North describes the story arcs that the characters went through, she basically says that the story arcs were already prepared at the start of the webcomic.
And that part really shows that this was very planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel like anything was, like, sort of, like the story wasn't made up at the last minute. It flows quite naturally throughout their relationship.
No one pulled a dartboard out at season 6 and threw darts at the board to find out who the Cylons were.
Generally, I think actually that Walking North trimmed more from her script than she added to it, with some things that are directly related to the character arcs of the main characters just being pretty much ignored.
It's a very focused script.
Yeah, very focused. There wasn't a like, my dead lost cousin came back and they're married to a gazelle and now we have to deal with that.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. No.
Could you do that? Could you do that, Maple? Could you put like
s-
a picture of that, like some background character next to a gazelle, with like a love heart in between them? That'd be great.
If the audience is listening to it right now, then I probably will.
Oh. Can we get 50 likes? 50 likes, and we'll do it. Oh no.
And the other part is that I think when a webcomic or something like this gets popular, there can also be some temptations for the authors to stretch the story.
Yeah. But she really didn't do that.
No.
Because she probably wanted to start another story, you know?
Well,
Or eventually, at least.
well, she has.
And almost like, in fact, she just did.
Yeah.
Indeed. Very subtle segue.
Yeah.
Woohoo. So, I know Ray has been looking forward to aerial magic for quite a while. What do you think of it thus far? We're not going to go too deep into it, of course, because it's only like 6 pages out right now. But
First impressions.
Well, with graduation stuff, I'll be honest, I haven't read more than the first episode. But it looks very interesting.
Yeah.
so I'm the only one who actually read all 6 episodes that are out this far.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
It does look very interesting. It's fun to compare between aerial magic and Always Human.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, what if like there's any major, like, what's similar and what's different in the style, because the art style looks quite similar. Like with
it looks there's a bit more contrast again. It's kind of weird. At the start of Always Human, there was a lot of contrast between characters and everything, but everything started to pale a bit as the webcomic went on. Everything became a bit more washed out, I guess. Or
Well, when she washes stuff out, it often... She definitely intentionally switches between a more high contrast and a more washed out as the mood changes in her comics as well.
she does do that.
yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of very subtle visual clues to mood and other things in these comics.
I love it when it feels like Some of the ink has run out due to water falling on it, or a tear falling on it, or
Yeah.
when a pedal has those vertical lines going through it.
Yeah, those really subtle artistic effects.
It's done really cleverly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested how aerial magic will look, because for one thing it has actually uses black instead of white,
Yeah.
so it has black negative space.
It definitely, the first episode felt a lot less airy than Always Human always did,
Yeah.
with the white negative space.
Yeah, that's true. It looks more grounded. It looks more connected to nature, which also makes sense, rather than the more technology-focused Always Human.
Yeah. Like less sleek. Like a bit more, I guess, Victorian. Like sort of evoking those early Harry Potter movies in its art style.
Kiki's delivery service is what I'm reminded of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like she's continuing some themes from Always Human with ableism and the like.
Yeah. With the main character being text blind, or she's unable to read.
Dyslexic or
Not dyslexic.
no?
It's literally, she's a witch, she can't read spell books, she can't read signs.
Yeah. Okay.
It's and I wonder where it's going with that. But I feel like it does have some overlap with Always Human in that it presents this disability very complexly.
Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't bash you over the head with it like I've seen a few other comics try and do. Like it tries to present it very naturally.
And kind of weirdly, because she, so the main character of Aerial Magic sees her disability. She also tries to use it as a tool, I guess. How do I describe it? Where to some degree she hates it, how everyone feels sorry for her, but to another level she also is used to that. And it's just a lot of complexity going on.
Yeah.
Always Human also has some of that. Such as how Austin uses her, Austin sees her disability as an excuse to be selfish.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how she described that.
Yeah, I think there's, from the little bit I've read, I think there's going to be some parallel between the two, like the two characters.
These are definitely themes that I imagine are probably going to reoccur in her different works.
Yeah, that looks to be the case.
I'm still wondering how romantic Aerial Magic will be.
Oh.
It's hard to say still, but there's probably a good matchup in there somewhere.
People have probably already been shipping every single character already.
Don't ship the kid though.
Oh no, they're going to do it. Oh. No, I was reading Wildlife on Hiveworks. Like, it's one of the characters in it is like a 16-year-old teenage wolf. I was looking at the top of the comments, like the top of the comments notification. It's like, please don't, like, please don't mess with this character. It's please, he's only 16. Please don't. Oh.
See, your first mistake was making a character who's 16.
Oh no. Anyway, yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to touch on? We've sort of covered the story, the art style, the music.
I mean, there are a lot of little things, of course, but I guess I can switch to the drum roll, please. Thank you. Questions.
Okay.
I actually got a whole quiz prepared for you two.
Oh no.
So I hope you remember everything that happened in Always Human to the smallest details.
I don't even remember my own name most of the time.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Question 1. What is the name of the city most of Always Human takes place in?
Isn't it Perth?
No.
Oh, fuck.
No.
Well, it's close to Perth probably, because it's in West Australia.
Yeah, it is. Oh, no.
And West Australia is a very small place and everything's close together.
No, it's actually quite spaced out. It's a lot of mining and stuff. Okay, no. This is where I'm. No. Western Australia is a lot of like there's Perth and there's like that smaller area, but it's mostly a lot of outback
Desert.
and mining towns.
Outback.
And you get the impression the city was put out in sort of the middle of nowhere from scratch.
Yeah, it's a modern city. Something I actually wanted to ask.
I don't remember what the name was.
Something I actually wanted to ask the Wombat earlier, and I completely forgot it. But how much is the world of Always Human like Australia today? Because it takes place in the 24th century, of course. But
Yeah, well, by
do you recognize anything particularly Australian in it?
well the reddish outback, obviously that's quite well done. But honestly, I haven't been out to Perth much. I'm on the eastern coast, which is fairly different from the west.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see Perth sort of becoming like that, but I'm not sure about a whole new city, considering one of the things happening is the Australian government stealing a lot of the Western Australia's tax money, and that's a whole thing.
Well, it does take place 400 years from now, so...
Oh yeah, by that time we'd have the like independence war of Western Australia, the second Great Emu War, the invasion and like pulling out of the Chinese after they conquer us. It's gonna be.
And won't the bunnies have like taken over?
The bunnies will have taken over.
Oh no, we saw the bunnies. Like probably no. Australian politics. It's funny. It's funny.
A lot of bunnies.
Yeah.
So the city, the city's name is Kaku City, actually.
Yeah, that's probably I think it would have been an Aboriginal name, yeah. Like a lot of places are named after like the traditional Aboriginal tribe that live there. Like
I actually hadn't even thought of the name at all until I said it just a second ago.
yeah,
It's kind of interesting that it has this very futuristic, well, of course futuristic, but very high-tech city in Western Australia. It's a cool setting. Walking North's also from Australia, so...
yeah,
Or at least her family is.
yeah.
And meanwhile, the characters are of very mixed descent, which is also pretty cool.
I don't. Australia is a big immigration point, so I believe all that. Like, I believe like all the mixing of cultures and all the different ethnicities that show up. I believe, like, because Austin's like part Latino, isn't she? Like
Part Latino, part Irish.
part Irish, and Tsunami is, I think, Indian, like mostly Indian.
All kind of Southeast Asia. Actually.
Malaysian, I believe.
Yeah.
A big variation. So also Indonesian.
No, I'd believe that. Yeah, that's definitely believable.
But it's also because it takes place in this very futuristic world in which everything is just kind of globalized, I guess.
Yeah, like
I don't know how much time it takes to travel anywhere, but
they have like supersonic trains in that future, so probably quite fast. Like
Question 2. What did Tsunati say about menstruation?
oh yeah, I remember this. She was curious about it. She's never experienced it. Like
And she described it, and the thing she said about it was so funny.
yeah, there's a great moment in Rain like that. If you remember, between Rain and Kai, that's almost.
I think I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's almost the same.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Wow, it's almost like magic. I think I'd like to try it out for a month to see what it's like.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I just had to make that a question.
Yeah.
And it's also just kind of suggests, that how medicine has changed.
Yeah, like that sort of evolution of what we have now.
It's very transhumanism.
Well, yeah, a lot of transhumanism. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is certainly one of the main overarching themes. In fact, it makes its way into the title.
Question 3. What is the name of the waterfall Austin and Tsunati visited on their second date? I'm not gonna make it easy on you guys.
No.
I'm probably gonna fail all these name ones.
Yeah, this is the last name one.
No. I should know this. No, I forgot. No, I give up.
Small detail, it was called Bon Falls. Or Bonnet Falls.
Wonderful. Is that a real place?
Oh, yeah.
It might be.
I don't know. Should I look it up?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It might be. There's a lot of little waterfalls and stuff, so it's probably a real place.
West Australia. Nope. Can't really find it.
Or it's made up.
Completely made up. It's also a
Ah.
really small waterfall, so. Really nice scene, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very. Yeah, one of the really emotionally engaging scenes early on.
Yeah. Question 4. Why did Austin spend several months in a hospital?
I remember this one. Or do you want to take it, Ray?
I can take it. She spent several months in a hospital because she had to get immunosuppressants in order to take an anti-cancer mod.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she can take mods, but it takes very, very serious medical intervention.
You were right! You were right.
Yay! 10 points.
Yeah, she had to be administered anti-cancer mod, so it's interesting how that works. I also suddenly wonder if she could have been administered other permanent mods during that period.
I suppose it
I'm
would
guessing probably not, because they're worried about interactions, and it probably has to be tailored to the mod.
be. Yeah, like you'd have to modify. You'd have to modify the mods to even get it to work with the reduced immune system.
Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
My parents are finally gone, so
Oh.
I'm sorry for suddenly leaving like that and such.
Damn it! You should have left longer. We could have put a bloopers in.
What did I just miss, though?
We the starting of plotting against you, but it all fell apart. Right.
Don't worry about it.
I guess I can ask question number 5.
Yep.
What are the qualities of the talking teddy? Talking teddy?
I know. You need to tell it the truth. It makes a field of. Makes like a safe zone, so that you can share your secrets, and it was soft.
Well, you got at least one of the qualities and
Yeah.
2 of the rules, so that's pretty decent.
Okay.
That's about in line with what I remember about it.
So it had 3 rules, but also had 3 qualities. It has ears for listening, arms for hugging, and it's very soft, which also makes it good for hugging.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There are also the rules, of course. It's just a really nice detail about how how Tsunati and her friend Ray had this really personal connection with each other.
Yeah. It's a really nice little detail.
What fairy tale character did young Austin say looked like her?
I don't remember.
Cinderella?
Cinderella did come up at some point in the webcomic, but the character this is about is Bella from Bella and the Beast.
Damn it.
This is the second time Bella and the Beast has come up in this series of podcasts. So it's kind of funny. But it's also like really personal moment.
Yeah,
Because Always Humans has these has a few, about 5 side stories or so, in which they go back to the childhood of Tsunade and Austin.
Yeah.
How they grew up.
And you can see like how like you can sort of see the elements of their childhood that progress to their adulthood.
It's kind of heartbreaking how Austin just always believed that she's ugly.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely an interesting part of the world building and the character.
Character building, yeah.
Yeah.
And my last question. Which personal mods did Tsunade decide to keep at the end of the story?
She decided to keep the tattoo.
That's one of them, yeah. The two she had together with Ray.
Was it-
When Ray left.
It was the eyes, wasn't it? Like her eyes aren't actually blue, and she decided to keep the eyes.
The blue eye color, yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because she wanted to. It was the blue eyes for the earth, for the ocean she grew up on. And because that's just the color that Austin knows her as.
Yeah.
I would also suspect it's also because Austin said that she really likes her eyes. That's the one element of her looks that she didn't change at all in the story.
As well as her skin color, of course, but
Yeah, but
that's because her parents didn't want her to change that.
yeah, it's hinted at that her parents were very strict on like mod responsibility and not going full,
Crazy.
like not going full out or anything. Yeah, like
To some degree.
yeah, like that little like before and after thing where you see like there's a little like alternate thing where there's one where it's like what she wanted as a kid, like, and she had like big pink hair and all these like tree branches coming out of her head and all this stuff, and then what actually happened, and it's just very much more plain and simple. I think it was in
Yeah. Still really pretty though. Really cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how how Tsunade wanted to be responsible about it. It was quite complex about how people deal with being able to change their appearance at any given moment.
Yeah.
It's also so that a lot of characters actually recognize each other because their eye lenses, which are of course
Yeah.
computerized, because their eye lenses actually tell them who other people are.
Yeah, like yeah, that's touched on like a bit later on, that like if you don't have your eye lens on, you literally can't tell who's who in the like who's who. Like you could be walking past your best friend and you wouldn't know because they can look so different.
Yeah.
Well, at least if they've changed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how that might affect the connections with people. Might be in a similar way as when you have online friends who change their username and avatar. It kind of remind me of that at least.
Yeah, you could have like Ghost in the Shell type situation where if you were smart enough, you could walk around and no one would be able to see you.
Would be able to see.
Like no one would be able to see you. Like remember
Oh,
Ghost
yeah.
Ghost in the Shell, like the smiling man, like who managed to hack all the facial recognition and stuff, and so no one knew who he was because
Yeah,
everyone's computers.
That kind of
Yeah.
interesting things. I mean, cybercrime or terrorism was suggested at all in this webcomic.
Oh
but you
no,
can
no.
definitely imagine that if you try to change this setting in any way.
Yeah, this doesn't go Deep Space Nine about it.
No, it's all very utopian.
Yeah, like
Yes, this certainly wasn't dystopian, which is more Ghost in the
or, like,
Shell.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but because we were talking about Star Trek earlier, like it's not doing a Deep Space Nine where it sort of pokes at its own system and like its own ideals.
Really, the only negative thing that is brought up in the entire webcomic, other than the character arcs of the characters themselves, of course. The only negative things about the society is that agate system is just too rare for researchers to put much effort into.
Yeah.
Well, and you get the feeling that from the skin tone that there's still aspects of society that maybe certain biases and stuff have not been fully surpassed in every way.
Can you give an example of that? Because
Well, I meant the question would be, you see the biases towards the naturalists,
Yeah, yeah.
but also, why was keeping her skin tone the same important to her parents?
yeah,
Yeah.
For
that's,
some
Yeah,
time.
that's not really.
there's some.
Yeah, that's not really something that's explored.
Maybe it's, they're a lot farther along than we are, but there's definitely at least some hints of echoes of some of
Yeah.
our current present in there. I meant, and also the LGBT union that was referenced.
Yeah,
in there,
like
Oh yeah,
still
yeah,
exists.
pride. The pride movement is very much still a thing.
So it's not completely detached
No.
utopia from where we're at.
there is some political ideas going on also with the naturalist group or village,
Yeah,
which kind of reminds you of what you might describe as Amish today, where people basically use technology that we're using right now.
yeah. They're treated a lot like the Amish in America, or like how that was all portrayed in the 20th century when it was much more of a thing to talk about.
And that's also quite interesting.
Yeah.
Can you two imagine this being the future?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever maybe get to that level of ease of altering biology, but I think a lot of the elements eventually we're going to get to the point where you're going to be able to, turn your hair bright pink or something.
I'd probably like to see like a lot more of the world building before I could say like, like were a lot of elements that were left unexplored that could really change that perspective or something.
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
But you could also try to think of your own path to such a future. And like some of the technologies, like nanotechnologies and virtual reality and robotics, even though they are not actually shown all that much, you can easily imagine what they would be like.
As I said, I don't know that the ease at which mods work. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but those sorts of biological tools, I definitely see that in our future. I didn't see a whole lot going on there that, they didn't have perpetual energy machines or anything that was silly.
They don't expect they didn't really explain like how they get their energy and stuff. And they're doing space travel. Like they haven't discovered FTL. They're still doing like solar level space travel. So it's not like you're not dealing with FTL or anything.
And space travel's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing in there that couldn't plausibly be hard science fiction in the story.
The only thing that kind of made me raise my eyebrows was the what's it called? The space tree or space tower?
Space elevator.
Space elevator, yeah.
Oh no, wait. No, that's probably how they get their energy. Yeah. It is like a real idea. Like, if you get strong enough material, like some kind of super diamond sort of thing, you could make a giant, essentially space elevator up through the atmosphere. And as it goes through the electromagnetic field that's around the Earth, it would generate electricity that you could harness.
Yeah, space elevators are a little bit more practical on the moon and on Mars just due to lower gravity. But I mean, it's just it's plausible. It's just a materials thing, and it's a question of how fast do you get materials. I guess there's some questions about whether or not we can engineer materials that's strong, but
The way to make something believable in a science fiction setting is also mostly about the way the characters react to it and the way it merges with the rest of the environment.
Well, that's sort of like for any real
yeah.
story.
I mean, it's kind of like the
Like with any story, like you can accept the fantastical elements if the characters are grounded.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like the mods and the other things. There's at least plausible ways that these things, they're not. There's stuff that, at least in the realms of physics, are possible.
Yes.
You know what isn't possible though?
Now.
Tsunati not liking Vegemite.
Yeah, you had a whole rant about Vegemite, didn't you?
Yeah.
I was curious about that. Please tell me.
No, Vegemite's bloody great. It's quite. It isn't national food. It's quite like it's a sort of salty. It's like a salty sort of paste thing. It's quite, I don't know, unique. It's hard to describe, but no, it's great. And honestly,
Definitely Australian.
yes, it's very Australian. So I suspect that Tsunati isn't actually Australian. She's an emu. She's an emu in a bodysuit. Game theory is Tsunati from Always Human and emu in a skin suit.
The war is still raging on.
Oh no! Oh yeah, we're in the emu Cold War right now.
The Emu Cold War. Oh, I love that.
Oh no! They're gonna come after me now. I've said too much. Okay.
I guess this. Did we cover everything, you think? Is there anything left to cover? Ray?
I think we hit the main points.
I've gone through most of my notes, so that's good.
So final thoughts?
9 out of 10. I think it's about a 9 out of 10. Or an 8 out of 10. Yeah, more an 8 out of 10. It's just really good. You should read it.
Yeah.
You should read everything
Absolutely.
Rocky North puts out.
Certainly one of my favorites.
It's just very good. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Wombat, for joining me today. I really appreciate that you were able to make time for this.
Oh no.
Despite it being unusually late for Wombat and unusually early for Ray, so...
Oh yeah, it's like 20 past midnight. Good times.
Yeah, time zones are fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what the next one will be yet, so I'll probably put a little thing at the end about what the next one will be. And goodbye, all you viewers. Ciao. Thank you for listening.
Remember to like and subscribe. Can we get 5,000 likes? Can we get 5,000 likes on the podcast?
Yes, if we can get 5,000 likes on the podcast, then I won't tell the emus about wombats being anti-emu.
Please, they've already taken my cousin. I've lost too much. Please, press that like button, please. My family depends on it.
Don't let the emus win.
No.
Don't let the emus win.
Yeah.
Is this where we plot against Maplestrip?
Oh yeah. This is where we say dirty things behind his back that he's going to put at the end of the podcast, so that he's going to cut all this out and then put it at the end after the credits or something.